شركاء لقد تقطع بينكم وضل عنكم ما كنتم تزعمون إن الله فالق الحب والنوى يخرج الحي من الميت ومخرج الميت من الحي ذلكم الله فأنى تؤفكون فالق الإصباح وجعل الليل سكنا والشمس والقمر حسبانا ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وافلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
أزور سيدي ومولاي معتمدي ورجائي في منقلبي ومثواي سيدي أبا عبد الله الحسين نيابة عني وعن والدي وعن المؤمنين والمؤمنات في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله، لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها. ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشيائهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله، إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاطبا، ولعن الله ابن مرجانا، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله شمرا، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتاله. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد عظم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله، إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانا وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم، وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشيائهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة، وأسأل أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثاري مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله من صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكنة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية، عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك ولنبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم الآن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع لهم على ذلك. اللهم العن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم العنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني وابدأ به أولا، ثم العن الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم العن يزيد خامسا، والعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانة وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجود. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخالق الأجمعين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين حبيبنا وحبيب إليه العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد ولا طيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ولا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين ولأن الداعم على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum to all the brothers and sisters. May Allah Azza wa Jal, Imam al-Zaman alayhi salam, have accepted our mourning for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. May inshallah these Majlis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, this gathering of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, be the building block and the stepping stone for the coming of the Imam of our time. And may inshallah all of us, brothers and sisters, all of us be in the army of our Imam of our time. And may inshallah we make him proud with our actions and with our majalis that we come and the majalis we do mourning for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, inshallah. So firstly, I just wanted to mention one thing that was deemed appropriate from the lectures before, a final quote, a final statement from Abu Abdullah al-Hussein from Medina to Karbala, and then inshallah we're going to start a new topic today. Inshallah with zikr al-salawat ma Mohamad wa ali Muhammad. So this last point that is less of a statement, but when I was looking at the happenings between Medina to Karbala, it's less of a staying and a more action of Abu Abdullah himself. Please, brothers and sisters, pay attention to this point because it's extremely important. A last point from this section that we wanted to mention, from the path, the journey that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein went from Medina to Karbala. One point, last point, and maybe one of the most important points, which is less to do with what Abu Abdullah had said and more to do with what Abu Abdullah al-Hussein has acted himself, is the love of ibadat. This is the last point. And inshallah we'll start a new section inshallah today. The love of ibadat, the love of praying for Allah Azza wa Jal, is one that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein mentioned, and you could see in his actions all the way from Medina to Karbala. You can make an argument that the spark of this was with Dua Arafah, this beautiful dua that we read on the day of Arafah, which is full of tawheed, which is full of Islamic theology, full of Islamic philosophy, with full of Islamic teachings in terms of akhlaq, in terms of anything that comes to mind. Honestly, it's a very long dua that it has many of the ma'arif, many of the theology of Islam within it. You could make the argument that the spark from the path is there, because coming out of Mecca, you could make the argument that the spark is there. Maybe you could make the argument that it's the khutbah leaving Medina, speaking to his companions. In any case, in all of these sayings, you can see the love for ibadat. Wa alaikum assalam. The love for ibadat that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein showed. And then the height of this love for ibadat, you can see it on the night of Ashura, that we're slowly getting closer to. The peak. Because Ashura was supposed to happen on the day of Tasu'a, the 9th of Muharram. However, Abu Abdullah al-Hussein wanted one more day. He said, go get one more day. He wanted one more day. And many of these unfortunate souls that were soldiers of Yazid, they thought, Abu Abdullah wants to delay the being martyred by us and his companions. But that wasn't the case. Abu Abdullah Hussein himself said that what I want this last day is to read but just a bit more Quran. Ibadat, when we mean ibadat in large, praying for Allah in large, we want to explain the few examples, just a few examples of this ibadat that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein himself did. We can see from the actions of the Imams, they loved prayer. We can see this from Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawat. We can understand that Amir al-Mu'mineen loved prayer. Whether it be in Masjid al-Kufa, inshallah, all of you have gone. If you haven't, inshallah, you'll go one day to Masjid al-Kufa. It's a masjid full of light, honestly. The feeling you get in that Masjid al-Kufa is like no other. Masjid al-Kufa, you have different maqams that Amir al-Mu'mineen would go pray in these maqams. He would have for example, the nafila of his Salat al-Layl in one, and then the other one in another section, and so on and so forth. Even he loved so much prayer, he loved so much that Allah granted him that he would be martyred in salat, in prayer. The striking of the sword would be in sajdah. And we have a riwayat that the most beautiful appearance of a human being is in sajdah. A insan is the most beautiful when he or she is in sajdah. This is the peak of a human's beauty, in sajdah. And of course, Allah Azza wa Jalla is not going to give this gift to anyone. But who better than Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib to give this gift that he may leave or be striked at least. The leaving took a bit longer. However, being striked and the hit of shahadat for him to happen in sajdah. This is how much. It's been narrated that every day he would read 1,000 rakat of salat. Of course, they performed. Now that doesn't mean that we need to also do 1,000. But of course, they're at the peak. They're at the absolute peak. And of course, they love nothing. If it was up to the Ma'soomeen themselves, if it was up to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, he wouldn't want to even leave prayer. He wouldn't want to leave reading Quran. We have to understand one thing, brothers and sisters, that the Ma'soomeen alayhi salam, they leave this ibadat of Allah, they leave this 100% attention to Allah, this fana'a ilallah, they leave this status, this situation that they're in, to come and grab our hands and take us towards Allah Azza wa Jal. They're doing it for us. And they're doing this because it makes Allah happy, of course, without a doubt. However, if they wanted their own pleasures, how they are within themselves, they would be most happy and they would be at most at ease and at comfort to stay in their salat, stay in their praying of Quran. And honestly, we even see some of these people within us. I'm sure some of you have met that by, inshallah, not committing sins, by controlling our tongues, the things that we've mentioned in the nights before, and by slowly doing some of the mustahabbat and increasing them, reading 1 page of Quran a day and then slowly going to 2, 3, 4, these things become easy. It becomes second nature. It becomes a part of our routine. And we enjoy doing these things. We have a love for it. It's not just, I want to do this and get rid of it now. No. While they're reading these things, they understand what they're saying. When they're reading Ziyarat al-Jami'ah, they understand these things. When they get to Ya Wali Allah, inni bayni wa bayna Allah azza wa jal, they genuinely, from the bottom of their heart, they're asking the Wali of Allah, to whoever they might be reading the Ziyarat to, from the bottom of their hearts, they're asking, listen, between me and Allah, you go speak to Allah because you're closer. They have this connection, see, with ibadat. They're used to it now. It's not difficult for them. And it's the same with languages, for example. If you start a certain language, at the beginning it's extremely hard for you to read, and you might want to put it away. whatever language it may be. It might be difficult at the beginning, but after you pass that difficult stage where you can't read all the time, you get frustrated because it's difficult, you keep stuttering. With spiritually, it's the same thing. If slowly you get used to it, what happens is that it becomes second nature to you. It becomes easy to you. It comes to you easier. Crying for Abu Abdullah comes easier. If it's not coming easy, then we should look within ourselves and see what's wrong. Why is it so difficult for me to cry for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? And just as a gift to the brothers and sisters, as a trick, whenever you cannot cry for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and you know you've done a mistake, but in that moment in time, obviously if you're in the middle of a majlis and it's extremely hard for you to think about everything you've done, you just need to do one little thing. As a gift to the brothers and sisters, just ask Bibi Zahra, Hazrat Fatima Zahra, salawat. Tell Hazrat Zahra that, listen, I know I'm a sinner and I know I'm a bad person. However, I want to cry for your son. I enjoy doing this. I want to cry for your son. Give me the permission to cry for your son, and watch how your tears will flow. Sometimes you need permission. Crying for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein is a gift. It's not a right, it's a privilege. Crying for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein is a privilege. Sometimes we don't have the privilege. We have to do certain things. We have to act a certain way. We have to be Husseini. It's not just bestowed upon us. So in that moment in time, try this. Tell me the results afterwards. Try this. Ask for Bibi Zahra to let you cry for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. However, if we want to fix this problem from its roots and take this problem out from its roots, we need to look in within ourselves. What's the problem? What is it that I don't have within myself? These are the main things, brothers and sisters. We can sit here and learn about this and that and so on and so forth, but if we don't fix within ourselves these roots and we don't act upon what we know, the more that we know is just indigested food. Let's digest the things that we even do know. Or maybe it's more in depth, the thing that we thought it wasn't exactly as I thought it was. Maybe it has a little bit of more in-depth roots with it. It must be easy to read 1 page of Quran a day or 2 pages of Quran a day. If it's difficult, why is it difficult? This question needs to arise for you. Why is it that it's so difficult for me to cry for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein? When I read the story of Hazrat Ali Akbar, why is it so difficult? Tears should flow, tonight being his night. When I hear about Abul Fadl Abbas, when I hear about Hazrat Ruqayyah, when I hear about Hur, why don't tears flow just by itself? This is actually one of the sifat, the characteristics of the muttaqeen. Read the khutbah of muttaqeen in Nahj al-Balagha. Amir al-Mu'mineen says the khutbah of muttaqeen is one of the khutbahs that didn't finish. Amir al-Mu'mineen is mentioning all the characteristics of muttaqeen, and he said, and that person, it was overwhelming for him and he dropped dead. There's only 2 khutbahs that haven't been finished in Nahj al-Balagha. Go see, this is one of them. One of the sifat of muttaqeen is that when they hear these stories, when they hear, without even them trying, without them even noticing, a tear flows from their cheeks. This is sifat of the muttaqeen. I have to understand, is this happening for me? Is it not happening for me? If it is happening for me, alhamdulillah, see it from Allah, don't see it from yourself. Na'uzu billah, for you not to have arrogance within yourself. But if it's not happening for me, bismillah, let's do something about it. What can I do? Let me look into the riwayats. Let me ask. Now, in this statement you could say, but it's more than that, because all of the things that we said in the nights before, there were more statements or sayings of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, but this is the actual fi'l of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, that he loved ibadat. One of them is Quran. Reading Quran. He wanted more time to read Quran. Allahu Akbar. What is Abu Abdullah seeing in reading Quran that he's delaying his shahadat? Listen, important point. One of the characteristics of shaheeds and the companions of Abu Abdullah, which we will mention inshallah, that's the next part of it. One of the characteristics is that they cannot wait to reach Allah Azza wa Jal. They want to leave this world. See, there's a difference. A lot of us, when we think about death, we're scared. And rightfully so. Because we don't know what awaits us in the other life. However, true awliyaullah, because they cannot wait to leave this materialistic world, cannot wait to leave this world that has boundaries on their soul, and they cannot fly, they cannot reach where they want to reach, they cannot do true liqa of Allah. They want to leave it as soon as possible. However, why is then Abu Abdullah al-Hussein getting one more day of reading Quran on this world? Even though that is the case, even though he cannot wait to be reunited with Allah Azza wa Jal. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He wants to go back to Allah Azza wa Jal. There must be something. Now of course we can look at hundreds of hadith that reading the Quran has this sawab and that sawab and all of these different sawabs, but shahadat has sawab. See, it doesn't make sense. They both have sawab. And these last moments, why? And I don't even think we will truly understand the peak of the reason why. However, we should act accordingly. If in the last moments Abu Abdullah al-Hussein wanted to read Quran, then why am I wasting my time doing this thing and the other, and wasting my time on whether it be Instagram, social media, YouTube, whatever? There's these applications on your settings, you can see how many, I don't know if you can check how many hours, but you can check how many percentage of battery, for example, what one application takes. You can probably find even one that how many hours you've spent on a certain application, or you can download it. Just to check on yourself, maybe download and see how many hours you spend on a certain application. You'll be shocked. For a lot of us, social medias, if you add all the hours, I will promise you probably will read 2 juz of Quran every single day on these applications. Maybe more of the young ones here. If we just take that time and we just put it fully, and we're not saying put all the time into reading Quran. That's not, of course that's not what I'm saying. But however, how easy is it to flick from one video and shorts from one little video to the next and to the next to the next? Or speak to my friend for 2 hours on the phone, or walk in the park. But however, 2-3 pages of Quran a day is extremely difficult for me. Why am I not getting this pleasure? What am I missing out on? This is important. This is an important question. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein has delayed his shahadat by a day, so that nighttime he can stop and read Quran. He's enjoying it. What is it that it's narrated from Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, that on the way after Karbala, his auntie Bibi Zainab alayhi salam, as they were going all the way to Sham, not only see the musibat that she's going through, the musibat that she just lost her brother, the situation they're in. Not only did her namaz, her salat, she didn't miss a single one. It's narrated that even her night prayers was Salat al-Layl was not even once qadha. She did all of them. In that musibat, see? In that musibat. Now if we go on a small little trip, even whether it be a holiday and we're enjoying ourselves, we'll forget to pray 3-4 of our main prayers that we have in our days. See the difference with Bibi Zainab alayhi salam. Not only her main prayers, but her even mustahab prayers are not qadha. This is enjoyment. Brother and sister, this does not come from just a sense of duty. Of course we have a sense of duty, but this comes from love. It's much higher. She cannot wait to go and pray. Her calmness comes from this. She gets a sense of calm from this. It's all this musibat and this pain that she's going through. The way she endures this pain is by that Salat al-Layl. If it wasn't there, she wouldn't be able to. This connection with Allah Azza wa Jal. She's getting this patience from Allah Azza wa Jal. If it wasn't there, she wouldn't be able to. This is a fact. She's getting this power from Allah Azza wa Jal. It's because of the connection. We have to put a time in our day aside for the connection with Allah. All of us can go into sajda and ruku and then sajda again and be done with it, namaz. But understanding it, and I'm not saying pray in a way where you take it, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdi Subhanallah. I'm not saying do it like that. I'm not saying take 1 hour prayer. It's the attention that I'm paying to. The important thing is the attention. How much attention to Allah Azza wa Jal do I have? I'm not reading Quran like I'm reading a newspaper. I'm reading, I'm understanding, I'm learning a few ayahs. I'm thinking daily, I'm thinking about one ayah. How can I imply this to my life? How can I think, okay, this ayah is saying this certain thing. How can I act with this ayah in my life? If we do this every day, watch in 1 year. That's 365 ayahs that you've read, understood in 1 year. Look at 2 years, look at 3 years. This is medicine. This is slowly medicine for the soul. Honestly, brothers and sisters, it's not rocket science. It's not that difficult. It takes planning. It takes time. The example we gave, 1 drop of water each time will create a hole in a stone. 1 drop of water every day. Well, in this case, every few minutes, for example. It's this gradually. So you can digest it, so you can move on to the second thing, to the third thing. Ibadat is extremely important for Abu Abdullah. Even whether it be salat. Whether it be having the zikr of Allah is another thing that's very important. Paying this attention that I am constantly watched by Allah Azza wa Jal. I'm in His presence. There is no place that I can leave that I'm not in His presence. This will stop you from making sins. This is a stop you from even being depressed. You go to these new, for example, psychiatrists or whatever they are, they'll give you this pill and this pill will do this and this will happen to you and that will happen to you. I feel lonely. A true mu'min doesn't feel lonely. Even if you're left alone in an island for 10 years, a true mu'min will never feel lonely because he has Allah Azza wa Jal. A true mu'min has this calmness about him, about himself. He's in the presence of Allah Azza wa Jal. He feels Allah Azza wa Jal. He knows that nothing, if he wants right now, he can take this person's existence and put it to anywhere he wants. He's in this situation because Allah deemed it appropriate. He's happy with it. This comes from ibadat. So we mentioned the other aspects of it. Not doing haram and doing our wajibat. Another point is ibadat. Truly. This is not something wajib. Doing that little bit of extra. Having that attention to Allah. This is what saves us. Now going to the second part, which another section which we wanted to mention today is the things that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein has mentioned about his own companions. The characteristics that his companions had. Now, in the night of Habib ibn Madahir, we mentioned 5 characteristics that Habib ibn Madahir himself mentioned about the companions of Abu Abdullah. On the Zuhr of Ashura, Habib mentioned 5 characteristics, and it might be that the characteristics will overlap here. At least one of them I think does. However, now we're hearing from Abu Abdullah himself that there's some characteristics that these companions have. And he's bringing them up. He's showing the maqam and the status of his companions. One of the status is the highness of the status of their souls. The companions of Abu Abdullah had an extreme amount of spirituality in their souls. They were of the spirituality nature. This is obvious. This is extremely obvious. They loved and they yearned for it. That's what they had attention to. That's what was important to them above anything else. The growth of their spirituality. Many reasons. One of them is, of course, because they understood that they will die one day. We mentioned this in a lot. Because of its importance. It's extremely important. It fixes us when we know that we will die one day. This is one of them. Number two, I want to give the brothers and sisters an example. A magnet. What does a magnet attract? Does it attract wood? A magnet doesn't attract wood. It attracts metal of the same material, because magnets themselves are made out of metal. See? They attract the same material. You have to be of the same material. They're spiritual. They are of spiritual nature themselves. Therefore, they can be of spiritual character, and they can reach spiritual highness or levels or whatever you want to give an example for. Because they are of the same material. Their attention to spirituality is extreme. That's what they yearn for, day in and day out. And pick up any of the companions of Abu Abdullah, study them from beginning to end. Look at their characteristics. Look what they were paying attention to. Look at the questions they asked. The ones that were in the time of Abu Abdullah, the ones that were time of Imam Hassan, there were the ones that were even in the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and the few that were even in the time of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah. Read about them. See how they were. They yearned for spirituality. Look at the questions they asked the Imams. Look at the specific questions they would ask the Imams. It was all around this. How can I improve myself? How can I be better? They're yearning for it. They want a formula. They want a manual. See, this is a companion of Abu Abdullah. Another characteristics which is extremely important, we're going to spend a few minutes on it, is they showed that they were completely dissolved in their Imam. Fana. They were fana to their... Now fana, I want to explain this a little bit, is that fana is when you yourself are destroyed. As in, they don't have attention to themselves. They've destroyed themselves. There's no me anymore. There's no I. They don't do anything for me. It's been narrated that a young man went to the house of Rasulullah and knocked on the door, and Rasulullah said, "Who is it?" And he said, "Me." And Rasulullah replied to him, "There is no place for me here. There's no place for me." "What do you mean, me?" And he didn't open the door. And this young man went, and a long time after had to come back again, and he knocked on the door. And Rasulullah again asked, "Who is it?" And he was so afraid to say me, he said, "You." And that's when Rasulullah opened the door. We have to destroy this me, this I. This what I want, what I see better. Even in our communities, brother and sister. Sometimes we're so fixated on what we want. Let it go. Why do we think that everything should be to what I want, what is best for me, what I think is correct? Why do we always think that a community has to consider me in their decisions, so that for me I won't get upset? This having me, my opinion. See? You can see in different forms. You have to be witty about it. Looking within yourself. Be witty about yourself. Brothers and sisters, the more important why we say look into yourself is because when you understand yourself, you will go towards Allah. Man arafa nafsa fa arafa rabbah. It's a hadith from the Prophet. And another good important point is the more I focus on myself, the less focused I am about others. Unfortunately, many of us, we have so much focus on others. It's like we want to correct everyone but ourselves. I'll see you, this person did that. That's because of this. And they have a whole analysis about them. And judging. Why are you doing that? Think about yourself first. When you're focused on yourself and your mistakes, you don't see others' mistakes. When I'm focused on myself, I see the mistakes that I commit myself. I'm looking within. I won't see so many of the mistakes of others. And this is easier to live with. It's easier for me to even live. I'm not fixated about other people's problems. Even with our families. My daughter-in-law, my brother-in-law, in-laws in general, my own family, sisters, brothers. I'm not fixated on their mistakes. I'm more fixated on my mistakes I commit, and how I can better myself. If each of us work on ourselves and we fix ourselves, everyone will be fixed. It's logically. All of us work on ourselves, and no one knows you better than you, apart from Allah Azza wa Jal. So then I know my mistakes. I know within me what's wrong with me. Let me focus on myself. Now when you destroy this self-wanting, you'll become fana. And this is the point. These companions who had fana were dissolved in their Imam. Now a theology question comes up. Now an aqaidi question comes up. Aren't we supposed to only be fana to Allah Azza wa Jal? Quick answer, no. Who said? The door to Allah Azza wa Jal is through His wali. The door to Allah Azza wa Jal is through His wali. He has deemed it appropriate. He wanted this way. He has Himself said, go through the wali, my Khalifa, go through him. Now you think that there's a better way? No. Fortunately, some sects of Islam, they say this, and even within Shia, some of them say this. No, I want to only Allah. Agha, Haji, that's not the way. Allah has said go through this. It's what I see again, it's me, it's not fana. This is a problem the shaitan had. In Nahj al-Balagha, it's been mentioned, Amir al-Mu'mineen has mentioned that 6,000 years shaitan was in sajda of Allah. For 6,000 years he was doing ibadat. When Allah said to him, bow down to Adam, nope. He said, no, I only bow down to you. That's an excuse. He couldn't destroy himself. See? He says, no, I'll do it for you. What did shaitan say? Shaitan said, let me off this one thing. Let me off to bow down to Adam. And I will pray to you. I will praise you in a way that no other creation has ever praised you before. That's what shaitan said to Allah. Just don't tell me to bow down to Adam. That's not the way. That's not fana. Allah has deemed it appropriate you to bow down to Adam. This is the way that you will come up. This is what Allah wants. This is what I want from you. It's as if you say to me, I love you. You show me your devotion, your love. I tell you, bring me a cup of coffee. And you say, no, listen, this tea is amazing. Listen, I don't want tea, I want coffee. Can you bring me coffee? No, listen, this tea is amazing. See, you're doing what you want. You're not doing what I want. How are you saying you love me? How are you saying you're devoted to me? How are you saying, how? Do you know how to do the ibadah of Allah Azza wa Jal, or does Allah know how you should do it? He's the one that has created you. Now I know, of course, in today's day, even some people have made shaitan a hero in Christianity, for example. Oh, he's a Lucifer morning star. He rose up against a tyrant, and all these ridiculous sects of, for example, praying to Satanism is created, and he didn't listen to a tyrant like God, and so on and so forth. All he wanted to do, he loved his father, which is God, as an example, and he said, no, you have to bow down to Adam, as the Adam. All these lies that they've been feeding. No. He wasn't a true abid. He wasn't a true abd of Allah. If he was a true abd of Allah, he would do what Allah has asked him to do. He does the way that Allah wants him to do it. That's being fana. Not what I want, what you want. That's when you dissolved in Allah Azza wa Jal. Now Allah has deemed it appropriate that we go through the Imams. And now some people want to say, no. We have to go only Allah. These are all hijab. They're hijab on our eyes. We cannot go, if we pay attention to the Imam, we're not paying attention to Allah. In the hadith we see that the Imams are the asma and the sifat, the characteristics of Allah Azza wa Jal. What are you talking about? Remember when we talked about intensity of our existence yesterday? Our intensity is so, we're so minuscule. We cannot go all the way to Allah Azza wa Jal. We need this bridge, which is the valley of our time. We need this bridge. Look at all the awliya. Look at Hazrat Salman. Hazrat Salman was dissolved in the Prophet, he was dissolved in Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he reached this maqam. Even a good example that a lot of you heard, even Zulaykha with Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam. Of course, first she made a mistake, and then she fell in love with Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam. With the love of the wali, she reached the love of Allah. With the love of the wali, that's the door. That's the way to go forward. She learned what it is to be she understood her beloved and how to love from the wali. He grabbed her hand and showed her the way, metaphorically. This is how you can be truly in love with someone. And the characteristics of each of the followers of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein were that they were dissolved in their Imam. Example, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Let's see Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas is a man of war. He's alamdar, he's the one holding the flag. When Imam Hussein alayhi salam asked him, go bring water, what did he say? Did he say, oh, these are logistic stuffs, I don't want to do this. I'm a general, what are you asking me to go bring water? Tell someone else to go bring you water. I'm the head of all this army. So and so can go and bring water. Truly, if you think about it logically, see here, you can think, okay, well, why don't a group of people go? Why doesn't Habib go bring water? Why does Hazrat Abu al-Fadl Abbas, the head of the whole army, have to go bring water? I can promise you the question didn't even arise for Abu al-Fadl Abbas. He didn't even think about that. As soon as the words came out of the beautiful mouth of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, he quickly went to do the thing that Abu Abdullah wanted. You want water? I'll go bring you water. Whatever you want, Ya Abu Abdullah, whatever you want. You tell me to clean, I'll clean. You tell me to drop dead, I'll drop dead. You tell me to go give my life now, I'll give my life now. You want me to wait? Sometimes even with ibadat. You want me to wait and not be shaheed right now? Okay. If you want that, I'll do that. Whatever you say. Today's not the night that we will be martyred. Today you want to wait and read the Quran? Chash. Whatever you say. He was dissolved in his Imam. He was an abd of Allah. See, these are the characteristics. There was no but, maybe, this, that. If your Imam has put someone else and said, listen, you have to listen to him from now on, the word should be, chash, I'll listen to you, whatever you say, Imam. But what happens to us? We think, oh, is this person doesn't even know what they're talking about. This person, of course I'm better suited for this role than this person. Let's look into our own communities, our own workplace, our own lives, our own so on and so forth. And Wali comes in different stages, brothers and sisters. Our Walis are our parents. When your parents say something to you, whether it doesn't even seem logically at that moment in time, unless it's against the wanting of Allah Azza wa Jal, that's a different thing. If it's not against Sharia, He wants from you something. He is your Wali. Your parents are your Wali. When they tell you something, it should be a quick yes, with respect. A quick yes with respect. Because Allah wants it. And do it for Allah. No problem with that. Listen to your parents because of Allah. That should be the way. Because Allah has told you that you should be like that. I said this even before, a few lectures before. Please read the Risala of Law of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. Read the bit about the haqq, that your mother has on you, the haqq that your father has on you. Go read those passages. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says that if you give everything you have and you work for the rest of your days for your mother, you will not be able to give back one drop of milk that she gave to you. In Sayyid al-Sajjadiyah. Allahu Akbar. You cannot give one drop. The hardship she went on. And your parents are the two people that honestly, they want nothing for the best for you. That's for a fact. Now, even if a certain thing they're not correct, Allah Azza wa Jal has said, listen to them. Unless it's against Sharia. Listen to your parents. But do we do that? This means we're not fana. We're not fana. But Abu Fadl Abbas was fana in his Imam. Sometimes we're the same with ahkam, brothers and sisters. Listen, I've mentioned this before. With aqa'id, with our belief system, we can sit down here and we can discuss all the different logical reasonings behind why God exists and why God is just and why God sends an Imam and a Nabi and a Ma'ad and so on and so forth. These are all logical reasonings, all of them. However, for ahkam, our do's and don'ts, it's not all to do with logic. It's not against logic, but it's above logic. Some things, yes, we have an answer for. Some things we do have an answer for. But does that mean that all of ahkam we should have an answer for all of them? Go to any marja and tell them, why is morning prayer 2 rakat and zuhr prayer 4 rakat? We have more time in the morning. Why don't we have 4 rakat there in the middle of the day when we're busy and we're in our workplaces? Why don't we make that 2 rakat? And then they give you some people might give a reason. Oh no, because in the morning we're tired. And okay, let's assume that's the case. Why is Maghrib 3 rakat? So 1 rakat is going to make me more tired or less tired? No, this doesn't have a logical, it's above logic. Logic and aql and your knowledge can calculate the things that has been given to you. If the data is not given to you, what are you supposed to calculate? The data is not of the materialistic world, it's from another world. You don't have the data. What are you going to do calculations on? What are you going to understand logically about 2 rakat or 4 rakat or 3 rakat? When a certain thing, we have to be fana. We have to listen. Whether it even be the ruling of our marja. Unfortunately, in today's age, we all want to be marjas. We all have our own understanding about deen. You're not a specialist. When we go to a doctor, we don't ask 101 questions. When we go to a car mechanic, we don't ask 101 questions. When we go to the office of our marja, we ask 101 questions. Why is this? Why is that? Oh no, but this. No, but he doesn't know. I heard this many places. You're not a specialist. We're genuinely not specialists. The marja is. So we leave it to him, he makes the ruling, I listen. And if they made a mistake, that's between him and Allah. I'm not a specialist. He's the specialist. He has to answer for it. Same thing with a mechanic. My car breaks down, I take the car, listen, you are the specialist, now you're going to answer for this car. Fix it. You made a mistake. Not my problem. I'm not the one that fixed it. In our laws, we are not fana. We're not dissolved. It's what I want, what I see. See, there's so much of me in different things. But that's not the characteristics of the companions of Abu Abdullah. That's not the characteristics of Ali Akbar, today being his night. Soon as he heard the command from Abu Abdullah, go towards the battlefield, it's as if he's unleashed him. Ya Allah, I'm going back to my Creator, Allah Azza wa Jal. There's many more points inshallah in the nights to come. We'll mention those more points about the characteristics of Abu Abdullah, of the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And may inshallah we learn from them, understand them. We'll read inshallah a few hadith from Abu al-Fadl Abbas, important hadith from Abu al-Fadl Abbas about being the companions of Abu Abdullah and learning from them. These are important. These are the nights that inshallah our qulub, our hearts will be awakened and we can have these characteristics. It's more important to awaken these in ourselves before we have other knowledges, before we add the skeleton of it we have. We know many things. And we can do Google searches and other things about other. It's the most important thing is to wake up, understand the real reason we're in this world. The world is not really worth anything. As Sayyid Radi would say, Sayyid Radi passed away a few years ago, rahmatullah alayh, he would say, this world is worth nothing because look how this world treated the Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen. Allah. Assalamu alayka ya Abu Abdullah wa ala al-arwah allati Allah bifana عليك مني جميع سلام الله أبدا وما بقيت وبغي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله الآخر العهد مني لزيارتكم سلام على الحسين all together وعلى أصحاب الحسين. On the day of Ashura, difficulties, born difficulties for Abu Abdullah. On the Zohr of Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salam had to watch his son Ali Akbar run towards the battlefield. His son that resembled Rasulullah. It's narrated from one of the shaheeds that when a shaheed, his body is not found anymore, Bibi Zahra alayhi salam would also go to that body because it has no zuvar for that body. No one comes to that body anymore. So Bibi Zahra alayhi salam, her heart aches and he says, this is like my son, I will go to his grave. May inshallah all of us be shaheed in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal.
Ya Hussein فعل المثل الحسين فليبكي البكو باكون. So for Hussein should you cry, all who cry should cry for Hussein. فإن البكاء عليه يهط ذنوب العظام. Indeed, in this crying, even the greater sins are wiped. In nights like these, we hope for change in ourselves. In these nights, we should tell our master, our Imam, Ya Sahib al-Zaman, you know, you've witnessed actions from me that are not worthy of a Shia, not worthy of your companion, but I promise that everything I did, it was from me not knowing. It was a mistake, Ya Abu Abdullah. It was a mistake, Ya Imam al-Zamana. It was a mistake. I made a mistake. I was a child in terms of mentally. I was a child in terms of even physically, whether it be. For Vilayat never left my heart. The love of your grandfather was always there. This is why I am here now, because I have one hope, that your door is still open, that this might be the way, that my sins will be wiped, these tears will wash away these sins. Tonight we turn to Ali Akbar on the day of Ashura. The war started, the companions fought the war. They would be martyred. Definitely Imam Hussein alayhi salam had told all of them that you will be martyred on this day. All historians narrate that the first one among had gone to the battlefield and had died. First of them from Hashimis, Ali Akbar, the son of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He came to Abu Abdullah asking for permission. فَأَسْتَعْذَنَ أَبَاهُ فِي الْقَالِ فَأَذِنَ اللَّهُ. The Imam gave permission quickly. It's narrated that for each person that would come to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein from the Hashimi, it would be very difficult. Whether it be for Qasim, whether it be for the other companions, it was extremely difficult for Abu Abdullah to tell them to go to the war. But for Ali Akbar, his own son, he quickly gave him permission. Go to war, my son. Go to war. Give your life for Vilayat. These are among the greatest tests of Abu Abdullah. See how Abu Abdullah acts when his test is there, when it's his own son. He gives quickly, not with another thought. The Imam then looked at him, نظر عليه النظر الآيس من, a look of sorrow and grief. وأرخى عينه وبكى. Then the Imam looked, he lowered his eyes and he started to cry. Tears were flowing from his eyes. Then the Imam looked towards the sky and said, Allahumma ashhad faqad barad alayhim gulamun ashbahu an-nasi khalqan wa khulqan mantiqan bi rasulik. Oh Allah, I bear witness that a man has entered the battlefield who is the closest in appearance, in manner, in speech to Rasulullah. Ali Akbar was a copy of Rasulullah. The way he spoke, hearing you speak takes back me to Medina, those beautiful days of the Holy Prophet. وَكُنَّا إِذَا أَشْتَقْنَا إِلَى النَّبِيِّ كَانَ نَظَرَنَا إِلَيْهِ. This is how precious Ali Akbar was to Abu Abdullah. He reminded him of his grandfather. فقال تلا وقال تلا غطال الشديد. Ali Akbar enters the battlefield, and he was told that he will die a bad death at that. A young man full of strength, fighting like a lion. أنا علي بن الحسين بن علي، نحن بيت الله أولى بالنبي. I am Ali, the son of Hussein, the son of Ali. We are the closest to the Prophet. أضرب بالسيف الأحامي عن أبي، ضرب غلام هاشمي قريشي. I will strike with my sword, defending my father, a strike of youth from the family of Hashimi. Ali Akbar killed many وقتل جميع كثيرا. ثم رجع إلى الأبي وقال, he came back to his father and said, يا أبتي الأتاش قد قتلني. Oh father, this thirst is killing me. ومثل الحديد قد أجحدني. The weight of this armor This weight of this armor is tiring me. فحل إلى الأشبحة من الماء سبيل. Is there any way I could get some water? فبكى الحسين. Imam cries and tells him, يا بني قاتل قليلا. Oh son, fight a little more. Soon you shall be with your grandfather Rasulullah. Quench your thirst that you shall never be thirsty again. Rasulullah will give you water from the heavens. Ali Akbar returned to the battlefield. With this word he had got a little bit more strength. الحرب قد بانت لها حقائق وظهرت من البعد مصادق. He'd killed many of enemy. As he falls, this is the last moment he came to Abu Abdullah Hussein, and now he's gone back. And as he is fighting, they throw stones at him. As he falls to the ground, he cries, Ya Abata alayka salam, Hada Jaddi. He sees his grandfather. As soon as he falls, he looks upon his grandfather. فقطعوا بسيوفهم إربا إربا. As he falls, he sees his father, his grandfather, as the spears and the swords are lashing at him. He sees his grandfather and he is crushed, his body is crushed. Abu Abdullah arrives all in despair. وَوَضَعَ خَدَّهُ عَلَى الْخَدِّ. He puts his cheek on the cheek of Ali Akbar and brings his face to his son. He says, قَتَلَ اللَّهُ قَوْمًا قَاتَلُوكَ. The grief was so intense as Ali Akbar was on the floor of the desert of Karbala. Then comes towards Zainab. Zainab is crying out to Abu Abdullah, mourning with Abu Abdullah that his beloved son is on the plains of Karbala. All he wanted was a bit of water. La yawmukum yawmil ashura. No death is like the death of Abu Abdullah. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. سيعلم الذين أي منقلب ينقلبون باسمك الأعظم أجل الأكرم بك يا الله. Maybe with the blessings of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and the Imam of our time, these be the stepping stones of the coming of the Imam of our time. Brothers and sisters, it's been mentioned that there are so many in these nights that are ill. People have called from other places of the world, that a lot of them are sick, a lot of them have issues in their own houses, whether it be economical, whether it be family-wise, whether it be health-wise. And they've all asked you in this majlis that we said it belongs to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, for you to pray for them and for you to want from Abu Abdullah. And this light, that honestly the light from this majlis is shining upon all the skies of the heavens, and the doors of heaven is open, and the doors to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein is open in these nights. Inshallah, let's pray that all of them, whether it be an economical issue, whether it be a health issue, whatever it may be, that Allah Azza wa Jal will grant them their wishes. With salawat by Muhammad, Ali Muhammad and Fatah. Allahumma salli.
أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
كيفك طلع حقف على كيفك مثل ما علمتك.
يا رواية بالفضل وين الماء يا بالفضل بيت. يا رواية بالفضل وين الماء يا بالفضل. راحات حسينه عينه ما حط عينه قال له صوت سكينه تصيح مروينه منه يفزع لينه كون ما تسقينه. يا رواي وين الماي يا رواي وين الماي. صاح لو أفنيها لو سكين أرويها الحرب راعيها لأن ما طبيها القاع بيد أطويها والعدم بتشيها. يا رواي وين الماي يا رواي وين الماي. من أسل سيوفي علي 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 ربيت علي 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 علي. من أسل سيوفي تخاف من جفوفي ما تغيب طيوفي عن شمس معروفي بالحرب بحروفي تصيح منك خوفي. يا رواي وين الماي يا رواي وين الماي هذا عهد الديني حيدر موصيني ما أعوف حسيني لمن ما يلقيني تقطع عن شفيني والأسهام بعيني يا رواي وين الماي يا رواي وين الماي حسين طلعت روحه من نظر لجروحه جثته المذبوحة عالنهر مطروحة جبل ينعس فوحة شف عدو يلوحة يا رواي وين الماي يا رواي وين الماي زينب تعناها بالخبر وافاها قالها راح احماها قام يبكي وياها من بكى المبكاها بس إلك سواها يا رواي وين الماي يا رواي وين الماي عالنهر خليته بالعلم غطيته بالقلب حبيته بالنحر شميته بالدمع حنيته للصدر ضميته يا رواي وين الماي يا رواي وين الماي يا رواي وين الماي صلوات
بر خاتم انبیا Muhammad صلوات. When Imam reached the body of Ali Akbar, he said, Ya Ali, Janam Ali, I am broken. Ya Ali, Janam Ali, Ya Ali, Janam Ali, Ya Janam Ali, Ya Ali, Janam Ali, Ya Janam, repeat. Ya Ali, Janam, Ya Ali, Janam Ali, Ya Ali, Janam Ali. این علی اکبر است از صدر زین افتاده است این علی اکبر است از صدر زین افتاده است یا رسول الله بر روی زمین افتاده است روح ریحانم علی نور چشمانم علی یا علی جانم علی یا یا علی جانم بار الها تازه شد داغ پیامبر در دلم بار الها تازه شد داغ پیامبر در دلم داغ فرزندم شده پیش از شهادت داغ فرزندم شده پیش از شهادت قاتلم روح ریحانم علی نور چشمانم علی یا علی جان علی یا علی علی یا علی ای بنی هاشم بیایید و مرا یاری کنید ای بنی هاشم بیایید و مرا یاری کنید بر علی اکبرم با هم عزاداری کنید بر علی اکبرم با هم عزاداری کنید روح ریحانم علی نور چشمانم علی یا علی جانم علی یا علی علی یا علی یا علی جانم اکبرم مرهم به زخم سینه بابا نزن اکبرم مرهم به زخم سینه بابا نزن تا ببینم زنده ای یک لحظه دست و پا نزن تا ببینم زنده ای یک لحظه دست و پا نزن روح ریحانم علی نور چشمانم علی یا علی علی یا یا یوسف من با چه جرمی گرگه ها چنگت زدن یوسف من با چه جرمی گرگه ها چنگت زدن پیش چشمم دست جمعی کوفیان سنگت زدن پیش جمعم دست جمعی کوفیان سنگت زدن روح ریحانم علی نور چشمانم علی یا علی یا علی جانم علی یا یا علی جانم علی پیش چشمان پدر بر خاک افتادی علی پیش چشمان پدر بر خاک افتادی علی آب از من خواستی و تشنه جان دادی علی آب از من خواستی و تشنه جان دادی علی روح و ریحانم علی نور چشمانم علی یا علی جانم یا علی یا جان بابا عمه مظلوم آمد از حرم جان بابا عمه مظلوم آمد از حرم کاش می شد زخم فرقت را ببندم اکبرم کاش می شد زخم فرقت را ببندم اکبرم روح ریحانم علی نور چشمانم علی یا علی 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 یا جانم علی یا علی جان بس که بودی تشنه دریا از غمت بی آب شد بس که بودی تشنه دریا از غمت بی آب شد آب هم از خجلت لبهای خشکت آب شد آب هم از خجلت لبهای خشکت آب شد روح و ریحانم علی نور چشمانم علی یا علی علی یا علی یا جمع یا علی جانم علی یا علی جانم علی این علی اکبر است از صدر زین افتاده است یا رسول الله بر روی زمین افتاده است روح و ریحانم علی نور چشمانم علی یا علی جانم 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 علی صلوات
یا حسین लाश अकबर उठा रहे हैं हुसैन कर लो रोशन के आ रहे हैं हुसैन लाश अकबर उठा रहे हैं हुसैन हुसैन लड़खड़ाए हैं अंबिया के कदम लड़खड़ाए हैं अंबिया के कदम जिस जगह मुस्कुरा रहे हैं हुसैन हुसैन दो सदा हो कहाँ अली अकबर दो सदा हो कहाँ अली अकबर ठोकरे रन में खा रहे हैं हुसैन लाश अकबर ہے حسین جاؤ خیمے میں جاؤ اے زینب جاؤ خیمے میں جاؤ اے زینب لاش اکبر کی لار ہے اے حسین لاش اکبر ہے حسین آہ کرتے ہیں بیٹھ جاتے ہیں آہ کرتے ہیں بیٹھ جاتے ہیں کس کا لاشا اٹھا رہے ہیں حسین لاش اکبر اٹھا رہے ہیں حسین چن کے قاسم کی لاش کے ٹکڑے چن کے قاسم کی لاش کے ٹکڑے اپنے دامن میں لا رہے ہیں حسین لاش اٹھا رہے ہیں حسین دو صدا ہو کہاں علی اکبر دو صدا ہو کہاں علی اکبر ٹھوکرے رن میں کھا رہے ہے حسین اٹھا رہے ہے حسین جاؤ خیمے میں جاؤ اے زینب جاؤ خیمے میں جاؤ اے زینب لاش اکبر کھلا رہے ہے حسین لاش اکبر اٹھا رہے ہے حسین عباس کا پرچم ہے تنظیم حسینی ہے 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 شبیر کا ماتم ہے شبیر کا ماتم ہے تنظیم حسینی ہے عباس کا پرچم ہے تنظیم حسینی ہے عباس کا پرچم ہے تنظیم حسینی ہے اکبر ای تازه جوانم ای شهید کربلا اکبر ای تازه جوانم ای شهید کربلا اکبر ای تازه جوانم ای شهید کربلا اکبر ای آرام جانم ای شهید کربلا اکبر ای آرام جانم ای شهید اکبر ای روح و روانم ای شهید اکبر ای روح و روانم ای شهید من که در آه و فغانم ای شهید من که در آه و فغانم ای شهید میبری هوش از سر من ای شهید کربلا میبری هوش از سر من ای شهید اکبر من ای شهید کربلا مادرت لیلای محزون ای شهید کربلا مادرت لیلای محزون می شود از غم چون مجنون ای شهید میروی تا از کنارم ای شهید میروی تا از کنارم ای شهید میکنی شب روزگارم ای شهید حسین ای روح و روانم ای شهید حسین ای روح و روانم اکبر ای تازه جوانم اکبر ای تازه جوانم وا ویلا وا ویلا وا ویلا وا ویلا وا ویلا وا ویلا شهید القمه وا ویلا وا ویلا شهید القمه وا ویلا وا ویلا عزیز فاطمه وا ویلا وا ویلا ابو فاضل مدد وا ویلا گل ام البنین وا ویلا وا ویلا شده قطع الیمین وا ویلا ویلا فتاده بر زمین وا ویلا وا ویلا آخ عمود آهنین وا ویلا وا ویلا وای علمدار حسین وا ویلا آخ سپهدار حسین وا ویلا وا ویلا وای امیر نشأتین وا ویلا آخ عزیز یار حسین وا ویلا وا ویلا وای عزیز عالمین وا ویلا آخ امید زینبین وا ویلا وا ویلا وا ویلا وا ویلا وا ویلا یا رب این لاله لیلا که سپردی به منش یا رب این لاله لیلا که سپردی به منش این بنی هاشمیان توی کجا میبرنش این بنی هاشمیان توی کجا میبرنش دیدم آن شبه پیمبر که مرا طاقت بود دیدم آن شبه پیمبر که مرا طاقت بود زرهش پاره و گلگون شده این پیرهنش دیدم آن لحظه جوانم که به خود میپیچید دشمنان از همه جا تیر و سنان میزدنش حسین شهید حسین غریب حسین شهید حسین غریب دیدم آن دم که دو چشمان علی غرق به خون دیدم آن دم که دو چشمان علی غرق به خون بسترش خاک شد و نقش زمین پاره تنش دیدم آن آهوی مستم که خرامی میرفت لاله گون گشت خزان شبنم خون بر چمنش دیدم آنجا که لبش دیدم آنجا که لبش خشک و دهانش بی آب قاب انگشتر من بود مراد دهنش حسین شهید حسین غریب حسین شهید حسین غریب هر کجا از بدنش هر کجا از بدنش را که به کف میگیرم میخورد روی زمین جای دگر از بدنش. فتر ساید به جنون از غم عظمای علی، فتر ساید به جنون از غم عظمای علی، که حسین از غم او چاک دهد پیرهنش. بار الله به حق پهلوی مجروح بتول، این عزاداری ما جمله به فرمای قبول. حسین شهید، حسین غریب، حسین شهید، حسین غریب.
Thank you. Brother, please, toward Qibla, we do final dua. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إلهي عظم البلاء وبرح الخفاء وانكشف الغطاء وانقطع الرجاء وزاغت الأرض ومنعت السماء وأنت المستعان وإليك المشتكى وعليك المعول في شدة والرخاء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أولي الأمر الذين فرضت علينا طاعتهم وعرفنا بذلك منزلتهم، ففرج عنا بحقهم فرجا عاجلا قريبا كلمح البصر أو هو أقرب. يا محمد يا علي أحسن يا علي يا محمد أكفياني فإنكما كافيان وانصراني فإنكما ناصران. يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان القوس 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 أدركني 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 الساعة والساعة الساعة العجل العجل العجل. يا أرحم الراحمين بحق محمد وآله الطاهرين. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم العز الأجل الأكرم بحق إمام زماننا بدم المظلوم كربلاء 10 times say يا الله 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 يا الله. يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك وعلى محبة الحسين في الدنيا والآخرة. إلهي يا حميد بحق محمد يا عالي بحق علي يا فاطر بحق فاطمة يا محسن بحق الحسن يا قديم الإحسان بحق الحسين. سلام to Abu Abdullah toward Qibla. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Few seconds, turn to the right please. السلام عليك يا إمام الغريب، السلام عليك أيها الإمام الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها الإمام الرؤوف، السلام عليك يا شمس الشموس المدفون بأرض توس، السلطان يا علي بن موسى الرضا المرتضى، عليك آلاف التحية والثناء ورحمة الله وبركاته. Toward Qibla again, Imam Zaman. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا قاطع البرهان، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، عجل الله فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. For the peace of soul of our beloved one, parents and relatives of all attendees who attended tonight, parents and relatives of all brothers and sisters who provided food tonight and also other services tonight, for the peace of soul of our beloved one who passed away, please recite Fatiha ma'al ikhlas wa salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta غير المغضوب عليهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله احد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا احد. Brothers and sisters, we have some brothers facing health issues. Our brother Abbas last night was reciting for us. He is not well tonight. And also we have many others that yesterday Sheikh mentioned Sayyidah Maryam bint Fatima and also many others suffering. Please, for asking Almighty God to keep them in full health and comfort and a fast recovery, please repeat with me 5 times. Amma yujib. Amma yujibul mustarra iza du'a wa yakshifu su. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. 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 صلوات.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صل على محمد أشهد أن عليا أمير المؤمنين ولي الله أشهد أن عليا أمير المؤمنين وأولاده المعصومين حجج الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله اللهم ارزقنا خير الدنيا وخير الآخرة وكفنا شر الدنيا وشر الآخرة إلى روح النبي محمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين والتسعة المعصومين وعلى أرواح أمواتنا وأموات المؤمنين والمؤمنات ومن لم يذكرهم ذاكر رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة تسبقه الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد